Princess Lysera paced the length of her private chamber. The walls glimmered softly, reflecting the floating lights from the city below. Her palace was a masterpiece of alien engineering. Tall spires reaching toward the sky, gardens that floated in mid-air, and fountains that glowed with liquid light. Yet all its beauty could not calm the storm inside her heart. The royal messenger had arrived earlier that morning with news she had hoped would never come. Her parents, the rulers of Zephora, had decreed that she would marry a human. Not just any human, but Captain Daniel Hart, ambassador from a planet called Earth. The humans had been part of the Galactic Alliance for decades, but she had heard only stories. Stories of their recklessness, their brute strength, and their inability to respect alien traditions. Lysera stopped pacing and looked out of the window at the city below. The people waved to her as she passed. They loved her, but would they understand her fear? She was supposed to bring peace between their worlds, but how could she respect a man who belonged to a species she barely understood? Her handmaid, Serena, entered quietly. "Princess," she said softly, "you have been walking for hours. You must eat something. You cannot face your first meeting in this state." Lysera shook her head, brushing back a strand of violet hair. "Eat? Serena, do you not understand? They expect me to marry a human. A human. I do not know him. I do not want him." Serena sighed and knelt beside her. "I understand your fear, Princess, but you are the future of our people. Captain Hart is not here to harm you, he is here to honor the treaty. Perhaps he is not as terrible as you imagine." Lysera's eyes narrowed. "You do not understand. Humans are loud. They are aggressive. They are nothing like us. How could anyone think a human could understand our ways, our customs, our honor?" Serena chose her words carefully. "Princess, sometimes people surprise us. Not all are as the stories say. You will see him soon. Perhaps you will understand." Lysera did not answer. She turned toward the balcony, letting the light of the twin suns fall on her face. She had spent her entire life learning the ways of diplomacy, the etiquette of her people, and the traditions of the royal family. But this was something different. This was personal. Her entire future was being decided by someone she had never met. Hours passed, and soon the royal council convened. The chamber was filled with elders in flowing robes that shimmered with the colors of Zephora. They were wise, they were powerful, but today they were united in their purpose. "Princess Lysera," began Lord Valen, the head of the council, "the time has come for you to meet Captain Hart. The alliance with Earth is fragile. Your marriage will ensure peace and cooperation between our worlds." Lysera's hands clenched at her sides. "I understand the importance, my lord," she said carefully, "but I do not see how marriage to a human can achieve anything. I do not know him. How can I trust a species that I barely comprehend?" The council members exchanged glances. Lady Seraphine spoke next. "Princess, trust is built over time, but the first step must be taken. Captain Hart is arriving aboard the palace ship. You will meet him there." Lysera's stomach twisted. She had imagined this moment countless times, but never like this. A human. On her home. In her palace. She could hear the whispers of the courtiers as she was escorted to the grand hangar. The palace ship hovered above the floating city, its metallic surface gleaming in the sunlight. Servants scurried about, preparing for the arrival. Lysera stood at the entrance, her posture perfect, her expression regal, yet her heart raced. She had been told humans were tall and strong with rough features. She had imagined him as imposing, maybe even rude. When the ship's airlock opened, Lysera's breath caught. Captain Daniel Hart stepped out. He was human, yes, but nothing like she had feared. His uniform was neat, his movements careful, and his eyes, bright blue, held curiosity rather than arrogance. He bowed deeply, following the proper protocol he had been taught, and his voice was calm and respectful. "Princess Lysera," he said, "it is an honor to meet you. I hope we can build trust and friendship between our peoples." Lysera stared at him. He did not shout. He did not make grand gestures. He simply stood there, polite and attentive. Something inside her softened, but she quickly pushed it aside. She could not trust appearances alone. The council guided them through the palace ship. Daniel asked questions about the floating gardens, the architecture, the customs of Zephora. Lysera, despite herself, noticed his genuine interest. He listened when she spoke, asked questions without judgment, and even attempted a few phrases in her native language. By the time they reached the dining hall, Lysera was no longer sure if her fear was justified. The humans she had imagined, loud, selfish, uncaring, were not what stood before her. Their conversation was interrupted by the sudden alarms of the palace ship. A security alert flashed red. Lysera's heart skipped a beat. "Raiders," one of the council members said. "Small, fast ships approaching from the outer sector." Panic rippled through the staff. Lysera felt the familiar rush of fear. But then she saw Daniel move. Without hesitation, he directed the palace guards, checking defenses and even helping some of the younger staff secure equipment. His calm confidence inspired those around him. Lysera watched, stunned. The human she had dreaded, this stranger, was taking charge not with anger, not with force, but with clear thinking and care for everyone's safety. The attack was brief, but intense. The raiders were repelled by the palace defenses, but not without damage. As the dust settled, Lysera realized she had been holding her breath. Daniel turned to her, offering a hand to steady her. "You are safe," he said softly. "We are all safe. Thank the guards. And your courage." Lysera felt a strange warmth in her chest. She had expected arrogance, yet here was a human showing bravery and kindness in equal measure. She did not know what to think, only that the stories she had heard of humans were perhaps wrong, or at least incomplete. After the raid, the council praised Daniel's leadership. Lysera, however, remained silent, lost in thought. She had come to the palace ship filled with dread and anger, yet now she found herself curious about this human, his ways, and why he seemed different from every tale she had ever heard. Evening fell. The palace ship's lights glimmered like stars. Lysera sat by the balcony watching the city below, the twin suns dipping behind the horizon. Serena approached quietly, carrying a tray of food. "You are thinking about him," Serena said gently. "I see it in your eyes, Princess." Lysera shook her head, though a small smile tugged at her lips. "I do not know what I am thinking," she admitted. "Perhaps he is not what I expected. Perhaps, I do not know." Serena placed a hand on her shoulder. "Sometimes the heart sees what the mind cannot. Give him a chance, Princess. See him for who he truly is." Lysera nodded slowly, watching Daniel from afar. The human ambassador had faced danger with courage, had respected her people, and had not once sought to belittle or insult her. Something was changing within her, a mixture of admiration and curiosity she had not allowed herself to feel before. She did not yet know if she could love him. She did not yet know if she could marry a human without betraying her people. But she did know one thing. The journey ahead would not be as simple as she had imagined. And as the stars sparkled above the floating city, Lysera realized that perhaps, just perhaps, humans were capable of more than the stories had ever told her. The night passed quietly, but her mind was alive with questions, and a small spark of hope had begun to flicker. Tomorrow she would speak to him again. And tomorrow, she would begin to see if the human she had dreaded could become something more than a stranger, a partner, perhaps even a friend. For the first time in her life, Princess Lysera felt a mixture of fear and excitement, and she knew that her heart, cautious as it was, had already begun its slow, careful journey toward change. The next morning, the palace ship was alive with motion. Servants and guards moved quickly, checking corridors, systems, and the floating gardens that adorned the halls. Princess Lysera stood by her balcony once more, watching the soft mist rise from the gardens below. Her mind kept returning to Captain Daniel Hart. She could not forget the calm, careful way he had handled the raid. She tried to push the thoughts aside, but curiosity had taken root. Her handmaid, Serena, approached with a gentle smile. "Princess, Captain Hart awaits your company for breakfast in the main hall. The council would like you to meet him again." Lysera nodded, straightening her posture. "I will go," she said, though her heart felt strangely heavy and light at the same time. The main hall was enormous, filled with shimmering columns and intricate carvings that depicted the history of Zyphora. A long table was set with dishes that glowed softly, each meal carefully prepared to respect the dietary needs of royalty. Daniel stood at the far end of the table, arranging his seat politely. When he saw Lysera, he bowed with perfect precision. "Good morning, Princess Lysera," he said warmly. "I hope your rest was peaceful." Lysera inclined her head, keeping her expression neutral. "It was. Thank you, Captain Hart." Daniel smiled faintly and gestured to the seat beside him. "May I sit with you?" Lysera hesitated. Sitting with him felt too informal, too personal. Yet there was no disrespect in his manner, only respect. With a small nod, she allowed him to join her. As they ate, Daniel asked questions, not about the human world, but about Zyphora itself. "The floating gardens are incredible," he said, eyes wide with genuine admiration. "How do you manage to keep them suspended so perfectly?" Lysera's lips twitched into a hint of a smile. "It is a combination of magnetic fields and levitation crystals. It took decades to perfect. Only the royal family has the knowledge to maintain them." Daniel leaned forward, listening intently. "It must take patience and care. It's remarkable. I have never seen anything like it." The word surprised her. Most humans, she thought, would scoff at such delicate craftsmanship. They valued speed and efficiency, not beauty. Yet this human seemed to notice the effort and skill involved. Their conversation was interrupted when a young palace attendant dropped a tray of glowing liquid. The liquid spilled across the floor, hissing as it touched the ground. The child froze in fear. Without hesitation, Daniel moved quickly. He grabbed the tray carefully and steadied the child with a reassuring hand. "It's okay," he said. "Accidents happen. Take a deep breath. You are safe." Lysera watched, fascinated. He had stepped in without thinking of protocol or rank. He simply helped. Her heart beat a little faster. She had expected arrogance or impatience, yet here was kindness in its purest form. After breakfast, the council had arranged for a tour of the city. Lysera was to show Daniel the cultural landmarks and perhaps begin to understand the human better. She walked through the palace corridors, her long robes brushing the polished floors. Daniel followed closely, observing everything with careful eyes. They arrived at the crystal hall where the walls reflected light in rainbow patterns. Children played near the edges, weaving through the pillars, laughing. Daniel watched them with a quiet smile. "Your people must treasure art and creativity," he said softly. Lysera inclined her head. "Art is part of our soul. It teaches us patience, respect, and harmony. Without it, we lose balance." Daniel nodded thoughtfully. On Earth, some humans forget that. They rush through life, too focused on work or war. But I understand the value of art. It teaches patience and empathy. Lysera felt a small warmth in her chest. Perhaps this human was not like the others she had imagined. Perhaps humans could understand more than she had been told. As they walked through the city, Daniel noticed the workers maintaining the floating platforms. He stopped and asked questions, not about rank or titles, but about their lives. "Do you enjoy this work?" he asked a technician. "What is the most challenging part?" The worker blinked, surprised by the human's genuine interest. "It is hard work, sir, but we take pride in it," he replied. "It is our duty to keep the city alive." Daniel nodded respectfully. "I can see that. Thank you for your effort. Your work keeps the city beautiful and safe." Lysera's eyes widened. He thanked the common people, spoke to them as equals, and showed no disdain. This was unlike any diplomat she had ever met. She began to realize that perhaps the humans were not all arrogance and aggression. Later they arrived at the Skyport, where sleek ships hovered waiting for travelers. Daniel's attention shifted to the smaller craft, and he asked questions about the technology and navigation systems. Lysera explained in detail, and he listened patiently, asking intelligent questions without any hint of mockery. "Your people have achieved so much," he said quietly. "It is clear that you value knowledge and precision. I respect that." Lysera felt an unexpected pride. The human did not simply admire the beauty, he respected the effort and intelligence behind it. As they continued their tour, news arrived that a small supply convoy had been ambushed by space raiders in the outer sector. The council deliberated on how to respond. Lysera expected chaos and panic, but Daniel acted with calm decisiveness. "We should first ensure the safety of civilians," he said, addressing the council. "Then we can organize a retrieval team to recover the supplies, but we must not rush blindly. Every action must consider consequences." Lysera watched him carefully. His calm reasoning reminded her of the best counselors of Zephora. He was not reckless. He thought, observed, and acted with care. Later that evening, they returned to the palace gardens. The floating lights cast soft glows across the paths, and the fountains shimmered like stars. Lysera walked silently beside Daniel, lost in thought. "Princess Lysera," Daniel said quietly, "may I ask you something?" She looked at him cautiously. "You may." "Why do you look so troubled?" he asked. "I can see the burden you carry. You are expected to marry me, but you do not yet trust me. I do not want to force anything. I only wish to earn your respect." Lysera stopped walking, surprised. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Diplomats often flattered, begged, or demanded. But this human spoke simply, honestly. I do not know humans," she admitted. "I was told stories. I was told they are selfish and violent. I do not know what to believe anymore." Daniel smiled faintly, not mockingly. "Stories are often incomplete. People are complex, and humans are no different. You cannot know us by stories alone, only by meeting us, observing us, and experiencing our choices." Lysera felt a strange calm. Perhaps he was right. Perhaps she had judged too quickly. As they walked, a small child approached holding a broken toy. The toy had belonged to the princess's younger cousin, and the child was crying softly. Daniel knelt beside the child, examining the toy carefully, and "I help?" he asked. Within minutes he had fixed the toy using tools from his belt. The child smiled brightly and ran back to the family, hugging Daniel in gratitude. Lysera watched silently. The human had acted without thought of rank, without fear, without expectation of reward. His kindness was simple, genuine, and powerful. She felt a stirring in her heart that she could not ignore. Later that night, Lysera returned to her chambers. She was exhausted, but her mind would not rest. She replayed the events of the day, Daniel's politeness, his curiosity, his respect for her people, and his selfless kindness toward the common folk. She had expected arrogance, but found humility. She had expected recklessness, but found wisdom. Serena entered quietly. "Princess, you seem different. The fear has lessened, has it not?" Lysera nodded slowly. "Yes, but I am still uncertain. He is human, and I do not fully understand his world. Yet, today he has shown me a part of humanity I never imagined." Serena smiled. "Then give him time. Observe him. Learn from him. Sometimes, the heart notices what the mind does not." Lysera nodded again. She looked out at the glowing city, feeling a strange mixture of hope and caution. She had dreaded this marriage, but something had shifted. She did not yet know if she could trust the human completely, but she could no longer deny that her heart had been touched by his kindness. For the first time she wondered if perhaps humans, her future husband among them, were capable of true honor, courage, and compassion. The next day, Princess Lysera awoke early, her mind restless with thoughts of Captain Daniel Hart. She could not forget how he had handled the raiders, how he had treated her people with respect, and how his calm confidence had inspired everyone around him. Despite herself, she felt a curiosity growing stronger with each passing hour. Serena arrived with the morning meal, placing a tray of glowing fruit and crystal bread before her. "Princess," she said softly, "today you will show Captain Hart the outer districts of the city. You will guide him as he wishes to understand more of your people." Lizera nodded, her violet eyes bright with determination. She had decided she would observe him more carefully today, not as a princess forced into marriage, but as a ruler assessing an ambassador. She would see if his kindness and respect were genuine or merely an act. When she arrived at the palace courtyard, Daniel was already waiting, standing beside a small group of engineers inspecting the floating walkways. His uniform was neat and his posture reflected quiet confidence. When he saw Lysera, he bowed slightly. "Good morning, Princess Lysera," he said. "I am ready to see more of your world today." Lysera's lips twitched into a faint smile. "Then let us begin," she replied, gesturing for him to follow. Their first stop was the outer districts where common citizens lived and worked. Lysera had always been proud of her people, but she had rarely walked these streets. The district was bustling with activity. Markets filled with vibrant foods, artisans crafting delicate jewelry, and children running between stalls. Daniel's eyes widened in genuine admiration. "Your people, they are skilled, creative, and full of life," he said quietly. "It is remarkable." Lysera observed him closely. He did not glance at the citizens with condescension or curiosity, only as a novelty. He spoke to them politely, asking about their crafts, listening carefully to their answers, and thanking them for their time. A young girl approached, carrying a small mechanical bird. It chirped softly, flapping its wings in excitement. Daniel knelt down, examining the tiny creation with interest. "This is beautiful," he said. "Did you make it yourself?" The girl nodded eagerly. "Yes, sir, I am learning from my father." Daniel smiled warmly. "It shows great skill. You should be proud." Lysera's heart stirred. No human she had met before had ever shown such patience or genuine interest in the lives of others. She felt a new respect growing inside her, though she would not admit it yet. As they walked further, Daniel noticed a damaged levitation platform. A maintenance worker was struggling to repair it, clearly frustrated. Without hesitation, Daniel stepped forward. "May I help?" he asked, offering a hand. The worker hesitated. I do not know, sir. It is complicated." Daniel smiled calmly. "I have some experience with machinery. Perhaps together we can fix it more quickly." Within minutes, the platform was stabilized. The worker nodded in gratitude, shaking Daniel's hand. Lysera watched silently, amazed at his ability to help without arrogance. "Why do you do this?" she asked quietly, once they had walked away. "Do what?" he replied, looking genuinely puzzled. "Help others without thinking of rank, title, or reward," she said. Daniel shrugged. "It seems the right thing to do. If I have the ability to help, why not?" Lysera thought about his words. They were simple yet profound. She realized that humans, at least this human, did not judge others by status. He saw the value in every life, every effort, every choice. Their tour continued to the trade port, where ships from various planets docked to exchange goods. Daniel was fascinated by the different technologies, asking questions and observing carefully. He interacted with traders respectfully, acknowledging their skills and bargaining fairly. At one point, a small dispute broke out between two alien merchants over the price of a shipment. Lysera expected Daniel to stand back, or worse, misjudge the situation, but instead, he calmly mediated. "Let us listen to both sides," he said. "Then we can find a solution that respects each of you." Within minutes, he had proposed a compromise that satisfied both parties. Lysera was stunned. Not only was he intelligent, but he had empathy and fairness, qualities she valued highly. As the sun set over the floating city, Daniel and Lysera returned to the palace gardens. The soft glow of the fountains reflected in their eyes. Lysera felt a strange mixture of admiration and uncertainty. She had begun to see the human not as a threat, but as someone she could respect, even like. Before they could enter the palace, a sudden alarm rang out. A scout ship had detected a small fleet approaching from the outer sector. These were not raiders this time. They were mercenaries hired to sabotage the treaty. The council convened quickly, and Lysera found herself at Daniel's side once more. She had expected panic, but Daniel remained calm, assessing the situation with careful precision. "We must first protect the civilians in the city," he said. "Then we can organize a defensive team to intercept the mercenaries. We cannot act recklessly or lives will be lost." Lysera nodded, impressed. His strategic thinking was flawless and his concern for others was evident. He was not a soldier seeking glory. He was a protector, a leader. The defensive teams mobilized, guided by Daniel's instructions. He coordinated the efforts, giving clear commands while ensuring the safety of the workers and citizens. Lysera watched him in awe as the city's defenses activated. During the brief conflict, Daniel personally ensured that a small group of civilians trapped near the city's edge were safely evacuated. Lysera could not believe her eyes. The human had risked himself without hesitation to protect her people. After the danger passed, the council praised Daniel for his leadership. Lysera, however, remained silent. She could feel her heart shifting, but she did not yet understand how to express it. That night, she walked alone through the palace gardens, reflecting on the day's events. The humans she had feared, the aggressive, selfish beings described in the stories, were not what she had seen. Daniel's kindness, patience, and courage had shown her a side of humanity she had never imagined. Serena approached quietly, carrying a small lantern. "Princess, your thoughts are heavy," she said. Lysera nodded slowly. "Yes, I do not know what to think. Captain Hart is not like I expected. He is different. Better, perhaps." Serena smiled. "Perhaps your heart is beginning to see what your mind has not yet accepted. You must continue to observe him, Princess. Only time will reveal his true nature." Lysera watched the stars twinkle above the floating gardens, feeling a mixture of hope and uncertainty. She had dreaded this marriage, but now she could not deny that something inside her was changing. The next morning, Lysera found herself looking forward to another day with Daniel. She realized that this human had begun to challenge her assumptions, showing her that kindness and respect could exist even in a species she had feared. As she prepared for the day, she made a quiet vow. She would watch him closely, learn from him, and see if the bond between them could grow beyond duty and obligation. The journey ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges, tests of trust, and dangers that neither of them could foresee. But for the first time, Princess Lysera felt a flicker of hope. A hope that perhaps, just perhaps, this human could become more than a stranger. The morning air on Zephora was crisp, carrying the scent of floating gardens and the faint hum of energy from the city's levitation systems. Princess Lysera walked through the palace corridors with a careful pace. Today was not a ceremonial day, nor was it a tour. Today, she and Captain Daniel Hart would meet a group of diplomats from neighboring systems to discuss trade and security treaties. Lysera's violet eyes were bright with determination, yet beneath her composed exterior, she felt a knot of worry. The previous days had shown her the kindness and skill of Daniel Hart, but there were still many unknowns. Could a human truly understand the delicate balance of alien politics? Could he navigate the subtle webs of alliances and loyalties? Daniel awaited her in the council chamber, reviewing holographic reports of the approaching delegates. His posture was relaxed, yet his eyes scanned the information with sharp attention. When he saw Lysera, he offered a polite nod. "Good morning, Princess Lysera," he said. "Shall we review the plans for the delegation?" Lysera nodded. "Yes, Captain. We must ensure the security of our city while maintaining diplomacy. Our neighbors watch us closely." Together, they walked through the chamber examining the reports. Daniel asked questions, not about the strategy or weapons, but about the lives of the people, their concerns, and the risks they faced. Lysera observed him closely. He had a way of thinking that balanced logic and empathy, something she had not expected from a human. "Princess," Daniel said softly, "I believe that the best way to handle this delegation is to show respect for their customs while being transparent about our city's needs. People respond to honesty and kindness more than intimidation." Lysera felt a flicker of admiration. He spoke as if he had lived among diplomats his whole life, yet he had only been on Zephora a few days. His insight impressed her. The council convened, and the delegates arrived shortly after. Lysera took her place beside Daniel, introducing the humans and aliens alike. Daniel followed protocol, bowing and using the proper formal language, yet he did so with a warmth that made the delegates feel respected. As discussions began, Lysera noticed a group of mercenaries disguised as merchants moving suspiciously near the council hall. Her heart skipped a beat. These were the same types who had attempted to sabotage the city before. Daniel noticed too. His blue eyes scanned the room and he whispered, "Princess, I see trouble. We must act discreetly." Lysera felt a surge of fear, but she trusted him. "What should we do?" she asked quietly. Daniel gestured subtly to the palace guards. "Divide your attention. Keep the delegates calm. I will handle the intruders." Before Lysera could protest, Daniel moved with fluid precision. He intercepted the disguised mercenaries, using his knowledge of tactics and human strength to subdue them quickly. The guards moved in, and the threat was neutralized before the delegates noticed anything unusual. Lysera's heart pounded. She had witnessed courage before, but Daniel's bravery combined with his thoughtfulness amazed her. He had risked himself, without hesitation, protecting not only her but the lives of everyone in the council hall. After the incident, the delegates were none the wiser, and the meeting continued smoothly. Lysera found herself watching Daniel with new eyes. This human who she had dreaded meeting was proving himself capable of honor, courage, and intelligence in a way she had never imagined. As the meeting concluded, the council members praised Daniel's actions. Lysera, however, remained quiet, feeling something deeper stirring inside her. She had spent so long dreading this union, yet she could no longer ignore the admiration and the beginnings of trust she felt for him. Later, that evening, Lysera and Daniel walked through the palace gardens. The twin suns had dipped below the horizon, and the soft glow of the floating lights illuminated the paths. The air was cool, filled with the gentle scent of alien blossoms. "Princess Lysera," Daniel began, his voice calm. "May I speak freely?" Lysera nodded. "You may, Captain Hart." "I wish to understand your world better," he said. "I wish to earn your trust, not through words but through actions. I do not wish to force anything upon you. I only hope that, in time, you will see that humans can be more than the stories you have heard." Lysera felt a warmth in her chest. His words were honest, and his gaze held sincerity she could not ignore. She wanted to believe him, but her mind reminded her that trust must be earned, not given lightly. Before she could reply, a sudden alarm echoed through the palace. Sensors had detected an unauthorized vessel approaching the city at high speed. Lysera's heart tightened. This was no ordinary attack. The ship carried a dangerous group known for sabotage and espionage. Daniel's expression remained calm. "Stay close to me," he said. "We must protect the city and the people. Follow my lead." Lysera followed him as he directed guards and city officials. He assigned tasks quickly, prioritizing the safety of civilians while coordinating a counter-strategy. Lysera realized that his leadership was not only tactical but deeply empathetic. Every decision he made considered the lives of those around him. As the intruders attempted to breach the city's outer defenses, Daniel personally intercepted their approach. Using both his intelligence and strength, he neutralized several threats while ensuring no civilians were harmed. Lysera watched from a safe distance, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and awe. When the danger was finally over, Daniel returned, slightly scratched and bruised, but smiling faintly. "Everyone is safe," he said simply. "That is what matters." Lysera felt a mixture of relief and admiration. She had seen humans act recklessly in stories, yet this human had acted with courage, strategy, and above all, compassion. Her heart, which had feared this marriage, now began to see him as more than a stranger, perhaps even as someone she could respect deeply. Later that night, Lysera sat in her chambers reflecting on the day. She had expected chaos and arrogance, yet she had found calm, intelligence, and selflessness. Daniel Hart was not only a capable human, he was a partner she could learn from, trust, and perhaps even come to care for. Serena entered quietly. "Princess, you seem changed. You are no longer as tense as before." Lysera nodded slowly. "Yes, I am beginning to see him differently. He is not what I feared. He is remarkable." Serena smiled. "Sometimes, Princess, the heart sees what the mind cannot. You must continue to observe him. Only then will you truly understand him." Lysera leaned back, gazing out at the stars above the floating city. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, and she knew there would be tests of trust, loyalty, and courage. But for the first time she felt a spark of hope. Perhaps this human, Captain Daniel Hart, could become more than a partner by duty. Perhaps he could become a friend, a confidant, and even someone she might one day trust with her heart. As the night deepened, the palace lights shimmered softly. Lysera allowed herself a quiet thought. The humans she had feared for so long might hold qualities that her own people had not yet seen. And perhaps through Daniel, the worlds of humans and Zifferans could not only coexist, but thrive together. The palace was quiet that morning, the floating gardens bathed in the soft light of Ziphora's twin suns. Princess Lysera stood on her balcony, gazing at the city below. For days now, her heart had been in turmoil, caught between duty and a strange new respect, even admiration, for Captain Daniel Hart. She could not deny it any longer. The human had changed something within her. Her thoughts were interrupted by the soft sound of footsteps behind her. Serena approached, carrying a small crystal tablet. "Princess, the council has received word from Earth. Captain Hart is requested for a private audience with their envoy before the ceremony." Lysera's chest tightened. Today was the day she would see him not only as a guest or ambassador, but as her future partner in the eyes of her people. Her mind swirled with anticipation and fear. She turned to Daniel when he entered the chamber. His presence was calm and reassuring. He bowed slightly as always, but there was a warmth in his smile that made her heart flutter. "Princess Lysera," he said softly, "I hope you are well this morning." Lysera nodded. "I am. And you?" "I am ready," he replied. "Whatever comes, we face it together." Lysera felt a surge of courage. His words were simple, but they carried weight. She realized that this human was not only brave, but loyal, and that loyalty had begun to reach her heart. The audience with the envoy was tense. Humans and Zifferans alike had high expectations, and both sides were watching closely. Lysera observed Daniel as he interacted with the envoy, speaking with intelligence, humility, and respect. He listened carefully, asked thoughtful questions, and honored the customs of Ziphora with patience. Lysera felt pride swell within her. She had feared humans, feared what their presence might bring, yet Daniel had shown her the best of his world: compassion, honor, and wisdom. After the meeting, Daniel escorted Lysera back to the palace gardens. The soft glow of the floating lights reflected in the fountains, painting the scene with gentle colors. "Princess," Daniel said, "may I ask you something?" Lysera looked at him cautiously. "You may." "Do you trust me?" he asked, his blue eyes searching hers. Lysera hesitated. She had been cautious, uncertain, afraid to let her guard down. But after days of observing him, after witnessing his courage, his kindness, and his respect for her people, she realized the truth. "Yes," she said softly. "I trust you." Daniel's lips curved into a gentle smile. "Thank you. That means more than you know." A small moment of silence passed, the air filled with the gentle hum of the palace gardens. Lysera's heart beat fast. She had feared marriage to a human, but now she saw something else. She saw a partner, a companion, and perhaps even love. Their quiet moment was interrupted by a sudden alert from the city's security network. Sensors had detected unusual energy readings near the outer districts, an old threat, possibly remnants of the mercenaries who had tried to sabotage the city. Without hesitation, Daniel moved swiftly. "We must investigate," he said. "Stay close to me." Lysera followed, her heart pounding. She had seen him act with courage before, but she had never felt the weight of danger so close. Together, they reached the outer districts. There, a group of intruders had set traps to destabilize the floating platforms. The city's workers were trapped, unable to move without risking a fall. Daniel assessed the situation quickly. "Princess Lysera, I need your help to guide the workers to safety," he said. Lysera nodded. "I will." Working together, they coordinated the rescue. Lysera directed the civilians with her knowledge of the city, while Daniel dismantled the traps with calm precision. His hands were steady, his mind sharp, and his presence inspired confidence. As the last worker was brought to safety, Daniel noticed a platform beginning to collapse beneath a small group of children. Without hesitation, he jumped to steady the structure, holding it long enough for Lysera to guide the children to safety. Lysera's heart raced. She had feared humans would be reckless, but Daniel risked himself without thought for personal safety. His courage, combined with his care for others, touched her deeply. Once the danger had passed, they returned to the palace. Daniel was scratched and bruised, yet he smiled faintly. "Everyone is safe," he said simply. Lysera approached him, her violet eyes shining. She could not hold back her emotions any longer. "Daniel, I have feared this marriage. I have feared humans, but you have shown me something I never expected. You are kind, brave, and honorable. I trust you completely." Daniel looked at her, his expression softening. "Princess Lysera, that means everything to me. I have never sought to force you or your people. I only hope to show you that humans can be more than the stories say." Lysera took a deep breath, feeling warmth spread through her chest. "You have done more than show me, Daniel. You have changed my heart." For a moment, they simply stood there, gazing at each other. The past days of fear, doubt, and uncertainty melted away. Lysera realized she no longer dreaded the marriage. Instead, she looked forward to it, not as a duty but as a choice, a partnership built on trust and respect. The council gathered later that evening for the formal announcement. Lysera and Daniel stood together before the elders and citizens. The people watched closely, unsure of how this union would unfold. Lysera spoke first. "People of Zephora, I once feared this union. I feared what a human might bring to our world. But I have seen the truth. Captain Daniel Hart has shown courage, wisdom, and kindness beyond measure. He has earned my trust and my respect. Together we will guide our peoples toward peace and prosperity." Daniel stepped forward, his voice clear and steady. "I am honored to stand beside Princess Lysera. I vow to protect, respect, and learn from her, and to work together for the benefit of both our worlds. I will honor her trust and her heart." Hush fell over the crowd, followed by soft murmurs of approval. Lysera felt pride swell in her chest. She had feared the unknown, but now she saw the promise of the future, one built on understanding, courage, and the union of two worlds. As the ceremony concluded, Lysera and Daniel walked through the palace gardens hand in hand. The floating lights shimmered above them, reflecting in the soft fountains. The twin suns had set, leaving a sky full of stars. Lysera looked at Daniel, her heart full. "I once dreaded this marriage," she said softly. "But now, I look forward to it. Not because I must, but because I choose to. I choose you." Daniel smiled, taking her hand gently. "And I choose you, Princess Lysera. Together, we will face whatever comes, and we will build something greater than either of us could alone." For the first time, Lysera felt a sense of peace she had never known. The human she had once feared had shown her a world of kindness, courage, and respect. She knew that their journey would not be without challenges, but she also knew that together they could overcome anything. The stars above the floating city twinkled like tiny beacons of hope. Lysera and Daniel stood side by side, looking out over their united worlds, feeling a bond that went beyond duty, politics, or tradition. It was a bond of trust, respect, and perhaps in time, love. As they walked back to the palace, the gentle glow of the garden surrounding them, Lysera realized that her heart had changed forever. She no longer dreaded the unknown. Instead, she embraced it with courage, hope, and the human who had shown her the true meaning of kindness.